Governments stockpile all kinds of things in case of emergencies. From weapons to medicines, they prepare for all eventualities. In the 1980s, the U.S. government had stockpiled too much of one specific item, cheese. Wait, cheese? Really? Why did the U.S. government stockpile cheese? Why did it have so much? And what did it have to do with J.L. Kraft, price support programs, inflation, and an embarrassed president? Stay tuned as we slice into the facts about government cheese. In the 1980s, Secretary of Agriculture John R. Block showcased a 2.2-kilogram block of moldy green cheese at a White House event. This, he told the press, was just one example of the 227 million kilograms of spoiling cheese stored in facilities around the country. And the government wasn't able to sell it. The media jumped on this embarrassing failure. To combat the negative press, President Regan launched a program that would give about 13.6 million kilograms of its cheese to those in need. The offering became known as government cheese. But what exactly was it, and where did it come from? To find out, we'll have to go back more than 100 years. In 1916, cheesemaker J.L. Kraft patented a method of producing a processed orange cheese product. It revolutionized cheese. Known as American cheese, it was a mix of Colby and cheddar with curds and emulsifiers. Emulsifiers. It was cheap to make and had an extremely long shelf life, and it would become a staple of the American diet.
Proud to be an American, where at least I know there's cheese.
During the Great Depression, dairy production was seasonal, with a product glut in May and June. This led to low dairy prices during the spring and high prices at other times of the year. To combat these fluctuations, the American government enacted price support programs. The government stockpiled surplus dairy products, including cheese, as part of this program. But with new farming methods, farmers began producing constant milk supplies, and the government stash of cheese increased. Then, in the 1970s, America was hit by an economic recession. In 1973 alone, dairy prices went up by 30%. In response, President Jimmy Carter injected $2 billion into the dairy industry over 4 years. This money encouraged farmers to produce more milk. The government then bought surplus milk and processed it into cheese, butter, and dehydrated milk powder, and their stockpiles continued to grow. By the early 1980s, it cost the government huge amounts of money to maintain the cheese stockpile. And now we're back where we started. An embarrassed President Reagan began to give away this cheese. But this government stuff was not like your usual American cheese. It was particularly pungent and often moldy. Well, that's a nice gift. It was described as having a weird texture.
Government cheese doesn't even melt! Look at that!
And tasted very salty. Many people only used it to make macaroni and cheese or grilled cheese sandwiches.
You can't eat a better grilled cheese than government cheese. But you got one problem. You got to cut it, though.
People described it as the poor man's Velveeta. This free cheese was delivered to community centers and warehouses around the country.
Take them and run!
Refrigerating it was a logistical nightmare, and much of it was spoiled. The remaining cheese became part of school lunch and low-income food programs. Ethnic minorities were more likely to be in the welfare programs that provided the cheese. Unfortunately, these people were also more likely to be lactose intolerant.
Your lactose intolerant boyfriend will turn into a gas-filled Macy's Day balloon.
The U.S. government stopped purchasing excess dairy products in the 1990s, and the donation programs slowly ended. But could we see a resurgence of government cheese? During President Donald Trump's trade war with China, Mexico, Canada, and the European Union and the Galaxy, the government was forced to once again subsidize dairy farmers. By 2019, the U.S. Department of Agriculture had purchased about 10 million kilograms of cheese, rebuilding the stockpile.
Making it right!
Government cheese provided many people with food they otherwise would not have had. However, some hated the cheese for its poor taste and how it advertised their poor economic status. For others, it's a nostalgia reminder of years gone by. Salty, moldy cheese wasn't the only thing spurred by a government program. The U.S. military pushed the invention of powdered cheese, making it a key player in the creation of some of your favorite snacks. But that's in another episode of Origins of Food.